What's going on, everyone? Welcome to G-Ball Vision. Today we have an exciting new knife to check out, and this is coming in from North Mountain Blade. While we're getting into this thing, let us know down in the comments what your EDC is for today. So we have some really nice packaging here and all kinds of goodies inside. Extra hardware, stickers, microfiber cloths. You're going to be getting the entire works here, and then we have a hard case with the North Mountain Blade on the top here. And let's get in here and see what we are looking at. This is going to be a new release for North Mountain Blade. And this is going to be the Kickstop chop here. And wow, look at that handle material. That is crazy. Look at all the layering that's been done. 1, 2. There's like 10 layers there up into that top strip. We are perfectly centered up. Now, if you're not familiar with, if you're not familiar with North Mountain Blade, they specialize in a lot of traditional looking Japanese style designs. And what they have done here, that really requires, see, that's a little different there. See, I have a couple of kick stops, and they're all a little different on how they act. This one is a little different. You kind of push down more so than flip it kind of like a light switch. It's almost more of a push downward. But we are going to be looking at SLD Magic here for our steel choice, which is a very high resistant, wear resistant tool steel. It's going to be a very tough steel, not going to have crazy edge retention, but it'll be pretty decent. And if, proper maintenance takes place, you're going to be just fine as far as any corrosion you might get on this knife. And then we are looking at a lower mounted titanium clip, and we have a titanium backspacer here with an integrated lanyard hole at the bottom. And I believe they have several different variations of the Kickstop chop, all kinds of different handle materials that you can choose from. And they are going to range in a lot of different price points. It's not all one set price. All the different handle materials are going to incur a different price point. So now that we got this thing laid out here, let's get a measurement on this and see what kind of size we're looking at here. So we have on our blade just 3.5. Well, okay, let me move there, right there. So 3.5 on the nose for cutting edge, 3 3/4 of total blade. And this bad boy's coming down here 8.5 strong. And to put that into perspective, we have the Spyderco Para 3 up top here and the Kaiser Drop Bear down here on the bottom for some size comparisons. And you'll see this knife is quite a bit more substantial than both of those. And next up, we have a couple of larger knives. We have the Kaiser Militol in its budget form up top here, and then the Bowie Raccoon from Vosteed. And here again, you're going to see that the Kickstop chop is quite a bit bigger than both of those. And we'll bring out the older brother. This is the Flipper chop here. And down here, we have the CJRB Frac, which is a large knife. And it is a little bit longer, but the Kickstop chop is going to be much more hand-filling, and we're going to check that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and see what this thing looks like in the pocket. We will have a little bit poking out there, and that is going to be by design. And this is going to be a right-hand carry only model. Now, I don't know if they do left-hand models as well. That's something I haven't looked into just yet. North Mountain Blade is very new to me, but I will take a closer look at that. But this is going to carry pretty nice. It's going to look pretty good in the pocket. You'll have this little bit poking out here, and that'll give you something nice to grab a hold of to pull this out of the pocket. And retention is going to be very good on that pocket clip. And then you have that kind of rock texturing or wave texturing, if you will, and that's going to hold that in place very good, along with the good retention of the pocket clip there. Let's go ahead and we'll get a weight on this thing. So we'll get a weight on this thing here, and it has some heft to it. We are going to be looking at, I believe those are steel liners, and then I believe this is some sort of G Mascus or some sort of G Carta or something of that nature. But it's got some thickness to it, and we'll check that here in a moment. But man, let's say 4. Let's say 4.5. Oh, damn. That's way more. What the hell? 5.7. Holy hell. I just had... Where's that knife at? The Tuya Wolf. Oh, it's in my pocket. This knife feels like it has just as much heft. Maybe not quite as much. And that's 4.2. Boy, that's crazy. That ain't bad, though, because this is an all brass flipper chop here. And that bad boy weighs 6.8. So, that's a good weight. That's a healthy weight, especially if you like a larger knife. You got larger hands. Something like that is going to be, it's right up my alley, but I wasn't expecting it to be quite that high. So 5.7 ounces and 162 grams. So that's 2 in a row. Not that you guys have seen the 2 I recorded in a row, but that's 2 in a row. I was way off. Holy smokes. With that other one, I guess 5 something, and it was 4 something, and now this one, I guess 4, and it's 5. So we are looking at a pretty thick handle here, coming in at 0.7. And our blade stock is definitely going to be a little thicker as well. We'll try to get up here close to the thickest part. And that is going to be 172 there. So definitely has some thickness to it. And we'll just get a random spot here. Check the behind the edge. And we are looking at about 22 in that particular spot with that particular hold. But we are going to, however, see how this thing cuts right out of the box. Not sure how I cut my pointer finger. I don't remember touching any edges. Ooh. Now, I will try. Some people will be familiar, and if you're watching this and you're really familiar with the characteristic of SLD Magic, I've had a couple of them, 2 of which from North Mountain, and then I've had some from Max Ace, and I believe others as well. But I've always found it to be just fine, especially if you're planning on using it up. You might not get the edge retention out of it like some super steels, obviously. But you're going to get pretty decent life out of this blade, and it's going to be extremely, extremely tough. I'd say it's got a pretty good edge on it, and the sharpening choil is not too shabby at all. My a key note on this one here, my Chavez is just like this. I have a Chavez kickstop. I have several kickstops, and like I said earlier, they're all a little different, and that's just the design of the knife itself, not necessarily the mechanism. But my Chavez and this one here, if you don't do anything and just kick the flipper down, it'll come out okay. But the minute you give it just a little movement of the wrist, it comes a hellin' out. And my Chavez is like that as well. And I think that's due to the thicker blade. And things need broken in a little bit more. But a little bit of a wrist flick, and this thing is going to come out. It thwacks out. I do, however, have a criticism of this flipper. It could be done better. I'm not sure why they went from this one here and I keep making my finger worse. I don't know why they went with this one here and decided to ultimately slope this down. You want it to be flat or going up in almost all cases. There are a few exceptions where this will work, and it does work. But I mean work and be comfortable, right? So there are a few exceptions to that rule, but I would like to, and if you have one of these, I know there's quite a few people out there that have these kick stop chops, but let me know what you think. I think this could be better. It does work, however, and I just think, if it's my design, flipper tab, as far as not the mechanism but how this is designed, I would straighten this out a little bit instead of coming all the way down to this point here. It should have came out of the handle and then just kind of went straight, maybe down a little bit and then straight out, or even come back up. That's how you want it. That flipper there is going to be completely straight, and it works really, really well, and it's comfortable. This works okay, and it's all right on comfortability, but it does thwack out of that handle with you don't have to flick your wrist, but just a little movement of the wrist. And like I said, my Chavez is the same way. It might be that heavier blade. We are going to check this lockup next. I'm not sure what I cut my finger on, unless I cut myself on closing one of the blades or something. We did check centering, and it's right on point, and they show off a little bit by milling out a center line in that backspacer, just to show, hey, this thing is dead centered, and it is. And very tight tolerances in there. Not going to have any detent lash. The detent is good to go on this knife. Good, solid lockup. No movement side to side. There is great access to the liner. They chamfer it and they jimp it heavily. The closing action is beautiful on this knife. Really, really nice. And then our lockup is going to be sitting there about 20%, 25%. Let's go ahead and we'll check this thing. A couple of lighter taps out towards the tip there. See how that goes. Okay, close it, check it. Couple of medium taps there in the middle. Very good. Check this thing. No movement. Opening action feels the same, if not better. Lockup holds good. No pivot lashing. And our closing action is good to go. You guys will have to let me know, what do you think of these traditional Japanese style knives? I know a lot of people really, really like these, and then there's people out there who, of course, maybe don't like these as much. And I am going to try to remember to start checking hardware. We're looking at T8 pivot, T8 body screw, and T8 on the pocket clip screws there. Very simple. On the show side, non-tooled pivot, and then we have a non-tooled body screw here, then a couple of screws on the back that are the tooled side. This is a very clean looking design, and I really like that handle material. I really like this knife from tip to butt. I like the dual ground traditional Japanese blade. I like the profile of this knife. The only thing I'm going to nitpick, and some people it might not bother one bit, but just knowing, there's just certain things I would do, and then there's certain things other people would do. But if it was me, I would have came out of this handle, and if you wanted to go down a little bit, that's fine, but this should have been raised back up instead of continuing to slope all the way down. See what I mean there? Your finger kind of tends to continue on that slope, where if it was flattened off, your finger doesn't continue to slope down. So this one to me, and that's why I felt at the beginning it's more of a push button. That's because it is more of a kind of a push button light switch combination, and it works. That works really well. And like I said, with a little bit of wrist movement, if your hand's not over top of the blade, it really thwacks out of there. So, yeah, that's just my preference. It works. And then, especially with a little bit of wrist, this thing really kicks out there. And if you're not familiar with the kickstop mechanism, it is a flipper tab, and it is a patented mechanism that allows the knife to be a flipper design, but you don't have to deal with that flipper coming out on the face of the knife. See how a traditional flipper will come down and also ride back up. This one, you do not see any exposed flipper, but when you close it, you are going to get that flipper tab back. So it's kind of a disappearing flipper, if you will, and it tends to keep knives really clean in their aesthetic, and it works really good as far as kicking the blade out. It's almost kind of a little boot. It's two pieces. The tab kind of kicks into another piece in there, and this is separated by itself, I guess, and it's basically like a little boot that kicks the tang of the knife out. So instead of being attached to the blade, that is going to be a separate piece, I guess, is how I should have said it originally. So it's two pieces, the blade and the flipper. Very cool design, though, and I really like what North Mountain Blade is doing over there. They got a lot of really, really cool different designs, all kinds of different materials, and all kinds of different knife styles as well. You guys will have to let me know what you think of North Mountain Blade, the Chop series. I love hearing from you guys. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. That helps push the video out there to more people. If you're new to the channel here and you enjoy this type of content, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe because I release daily videos just like this. I'll put up a couple of new videos on your screen. Go check one of them out for me. It really helps. I'll have yourself a nice day, and I will catch you on the next one.